Throughout history, power has often corrupted the minds of leaders. Some have ruled with such cruelty, their legacies are remembered for the horrors they inflicted. Today, we count down the top 8 most cruel leaders of all time. Starting off, at number 8, Vlad the Impaler, also known as Vlad III or Dracula, ruled Wallachia in the 15th century and is remembered as one of the most ruthless leaders in history. His nickname, the Impaler, came from his favorite method of execution, impaling his enemies on stakes and leaving them to die slowly. Vlad's reign was marked by terror. He's said to have impaled up to 20,000 people in a single campaign. His brutality wasn't just for war. He also used it to keep order in his kingdom, executing thieves and corrupt officials the same way. While some saw him as a hero defending Europe from the Ottoman Empire, his terrifying methods earned him a reputation for cruelty that still shocks people today. Vlad's legacy inspired the legend of Dracula, but the real man was far scarier than fiction. Next up at number 7, Ivan the Terrible, Russia's first Tsar. Ivan wasn't called terrible for nothing. His reign was marked by brutal purges, secret police, and mass executions. He created the Oprichnina, a force of ruthless enforcers who terrorized the people. Towns were razed to the ground, thousands killed. And when Ivan suspected the city of Novgorod of treason, he ordered it wiped out. Thousands were tortured, drowned, or executed. His violent paranoia even extended to his family. In a fit of rage, he killed his own son and heir. So with his reign of fear, brutality, and bloodshed, Ivan the Terrible truly earns his place among history's most ruthless rulers. Next up at number 6, Pol Pot, the Cambodian dictator responsible for one of the worst genocides in modern history. Pol Pot, leader of the Khmer Rouge, ruled Cambodia from 1975 to 1979. His vision, a radical agrarian society. But in reality, it led to the deaths of over 2 million people, nearly a quarter of Cambodia's population. Cities were emptied and people were forced into brutal labor camps. Starvation, disease, and mass executions became daily life. His regime specifically targeted intellectuals, professionals, and even people who wore glasses. In just 4 years, Pol Pot's Year Zero dream turned into a nightmare, making him one of history's cruelest leaders. Next at number 5, King Leopold II of Belgium. Leopold II, who ruled Belgium from 1865 to 1909, is widely regarded as one of the most brutal colonial rulers in history. But his real infamy comes from his personal rule over the Congo Free State. Under the guise of civilizing Africa, Leopold turned Congo into his own massive labor camp, where millions of Congolese were forced to work harvesting rubber. Those who didn't meet the brutal quotas often faced horrific punishments, severed hands, beatings, or worse. It's estimated that over 10 million people died due to his regime. King Leopold's legacy? Wealth for Belgium, but unimaginable suffering for the Congolese. Up next, at number 4, Jangus Khan. Jangus Khan, born around 1162, was the founder of the Mongol Empire, the largest empire in history. But his rise to power was as brutal as it was impressive. Jangus Khan is remembered for his ruthless tactics on the battlefield. His forces are estimated to have killed over 40 million people, wiping out entire cities and civilizations in their quest for domination. His favorite strategy? Instilling terror. If a city resisted, he would obliterate it, leaving no survivors to warn others. Khan even ordered mass killings as a way to keep his soldiers in line, with estimates of his terror campaigns amounting to 10% of the world's population at the time. Brilliant strategist or cruel warlord? Either way, Genghis Khan's legacy is as terrifying as it is powerful. Up next, at number 3, Adolf Hitler. Known as one of the most infamous and cruel leaders in history, Adolf Hitler rose to power in Germany in the 1930s. As the leader of the Nazi Party, he orchestrated the horrors of World War II and the Holocaust. His twisted ideology led to the deaths of over 6 million Jews, along with millions of others, including Romani people, disabled individuals, and political opponents. Hitler's ambition to create a pure Aryan race fueled a brutal campaign of war and genocide, reshaping Europe in a storm of violence. His regime left a legacy of destruction, hatred, and unimaginable suffering. A name synonymous with cruelty, Adolf Hitler is an enduring reminder of how dangerous unchecked power and extreme ideology can be. Up next, at number 2, we have Joseph Stalin, a leader whose name is synonymous with terror. Stalin ruled the Soviet Union from 1924 to 1953, and his reign is marked by absolute control, mass repression, and ruthless purges. Under his regime, millions were executed, imprisoned, or starved to death in a series of man-made famines, most infamously, the Holodomor in Ukraine. He ordered the Great Purge in the 1930s, where over 1 million people, including political rivals and even ordinary citizens, were accused of treason and executed or sent to the deadly labor camps known as gulags. Stalin's paranoia and brutal policies crushed any form of dissent, making him one of the cruelest leaders in history. Last but not least, Mao Zedong, the founding father of communist China, is remembered as one of the most ruthless leaders in history. His reign from from 1949 to 1976 was marked by policies like the Great Leap Forward and the Cultural Revolution. Sounds like big, ambitious plans, right? Well, they were catastrophic. Under the Great Leap Forward, Mao forced rapid industrialization and collective farming, a famine that killed up to 45 million people. Yes, 45 million, through starvation and harsh labor. But Mao didn't stop there. His Cultural Revolution, aimed at rooting out counter-revolutionaries, led to mass imprisonments, torture, and even more deaths as chaos spread across the country. For decades, China was gripped by fear and suffering. Mao's vision left a legacy of cruelty that impacted millions, securing his place as one of the most brutal leaders in modern history.